The person my daughter is getting married with is a promising worker who is expected to lead the USDA. I want to congratulate my daughter for winning the heart of an incredible man."
The guests at the wedding party applauded warmly.
"My only error was that the groom's brother is a high school dropout. I am truly sorry that we will have a high school dropout in our family."
As the hall fell silent, my brother whispered, "Do you know my brother's job?" The next moment, his father-in-law's face froze. "My name is Ethan Brooks. My father, James, was an official of the USDA. Speaking of James Brooks, he was a well-known figure in the USDA. What was he famous for? He was recognized for expressing his own viewpoint to senior workers and politicians. He was a man of unusual character. My father, James, came from a poor farming family. He studied hard while working and became an official of the USDA. He wanted to do something about the future of America. "Darling, it's Asher's birthday today. Please come home early."
"I can't tonight because I have an important meeting tonight."
"Come on, you should at least try to do your best for your son's birthday."
"Tonight's meeting is important. His birthday will come next year."
With that, my father left. My mother, Maria, was disgusted by James' stubbornness and violently closed the door. She had no idea this would be her final goodbye to James. The evening meeting ended surprisingly quickly. My father refused to go out for a drink and hurried home. He was about to cross a road near the office when he was hit by a car. He was killed instantly. My mother, Maria, regretted it for the rest of her life. "If only I would have seen him off with a smile. I shouldn't have told him to come home soon. Then he wouldn't have been in the accident." My younger brother Asher was still too young to understand his father's death. He was sleeping close to her father's body, not knowing anything about it. I wanted him not to think that our father died because of his birthday. So I made up a story. "Hey, Ethan, why did Dad die?" "Well, let me see. I asked him if we could have dinner together once in a while. So Dad was hurrying to get home and got hit by a car." Then Asher's eyes were filled with tears and he said to me, "You are such an idiot, Ethan." "I'm sorry, Asher." I hugged him as he cried. My mother, who was watching my brother and me, hugged us both. "You never know when anything will happen in life. The people you love may not always be there for you tomorrow. So make the most of every day." The words my mother whispered to me are still engraved in my heart. Since then, Asher and I began to greet everyone we met every morning. The people who greeted us smiled and greeted us back. In this way, my brother and I became friends with the people in our neighborhood.
"Your sons are wonderful. They greet us cheerfully every morning."
"They really are nice children." To support the family, my mother worked at a supermarket in the town. She was very happy when her co-workers praised us. "I'm so proud of you too. You two are really wonderful sons. I have to thank your Father in heaven." Me and Ethan and my mother would visit our father's grave and pray for him. "Mom, see you later." "Ethan, you haven't finished your meal yet? Why are you in such a hurry?" That morning, I left the house half an hour earlier than usual. My classmate, Malia Watson, was in charge that day. She had to go to school 30 minutes earlier than usual. So I left the house early to catch up with her. "Good morning, Mila." "Good morning. Wait, were you on duty too?" No. I left the house early by mistake." "You are so clumsy. Then you should help me with my work." "Sure, you can count on me." I couldn't say I left my house early, because I wanted to walk to school alone with Mila. but she seemed to understand my feelings for her, as she would always run into me when she was in charge of classroom work. In the morning, when I was in charge, Mila was waiting for me at the school gate. "Thanks for always helping me. Here is a present for you." Mila shyly handed a small pendant and went back to her home. At that time, I was so happy to receive a present. I didn't wonder why Mila went back to her house. During homeroom, the teacher said, "Listen carefully. Mila Watson has to change schools suddenly due to her father's work. I'm sorry, but she cannot say her goodbyes to you all." I couldn't hear the teacher's voice anymore. I could recall Mila waving at me as she disappeared. I was sad. I opened the lid of the pendant I received. There was a picture of Mila's smiling face. My heart ached. It was the first heartbreak in my life. After the death of my father, my mother supported the family financially. However, she was in and out of hospital repeatedly after years of overwork. My dream was to join the USDA like my father and work for American agriculture. But when I thought about the cost of my mother's medical treatment and her living expenses, it was difficult for me to go on to high school, let alone college. "Mom, I'm going to drop out of high school and work." "What are you talking about? I thought you were going to follow in your father's footsteps." "I'll let Asher take over Dad's dream." "Ethan, I'm sorry. If only I were stronger." "Don't worry. I'm going to work for David." David was a big local farmer. Before his death, my father often visited David. David taught him about agriculture. Because of that relationship, David hired me when I dropped out of high school. The day I quit high school and started working at David's farm for the first time. "Ethan, your father learned about agriculture while getting buried in mud with me. I could hardly believe that he was an official of the USDA. I still respect your father to this day." "My father also respected you, David. He always told me about your farm." "I see. Do your best to make your father proud." "Yes." I worked from morning till night, getting covered in mud. Eventually, my mother's condition improved and she regained her health. She started working with her at the David's farm. Her job was to wash the vegetables I harvested and prepare them for shipment. David recognized how hard we worked, and he entrusted us with a part of his large farm. "It's a small piece of land, but you and your mother can cultivate it. You can grow whatever you like." "Thank you very much." My mother and I helped with the work at David's farm, and also worked hard to cultivate our own fields. My mother's face was tan and she looked healthy. My younger brother Asher, on the other hand, was entrusted with my goal and worked really hard in school. To save money for school fees, he did not attend cram school. However, he still managed to achieve the top grades in his school year and went on to high school at the best school in the area. That year's weather was adverse, and the harvest of vegetables and fruits suffered significantly. David, too, became completely depressed. He began to sell off his vast farmland. "I've been farming for many years, but I'm getting old and I've reached my limit." "But as long as you own the land, you can grow vegetables again." I desperately tried to persuade David. I managed to secure the necessary farmland. After years of hard work, David got sick. I managed to plant and protect the remaining farmland. Real estate agents came to us one after another, demanding that we sell the land. I ran out of patience and complained to my mother. "Mom, we may not be able to farm any longer. You know, I wish we could harvest even if the weather continues to be bad." "That's impossible. We'll need to enhance new varieties." "Well, I guess we'll just have to give up." David was hospitalized. We were pushed into our limits and couldn't go any more. On the other hand, my younger brother Asher breezed through the Harvard exam. He excelled in school and pursued father's desire by joining the USDA after graduation. While my mother and I were despairing over agriculture, Asher was working hard at USDA to achieve his dream. For me, Asher was my only hope. A few years later, I received a phone call from Asher after a long time. "Hey bro, it's been a while, what's up?"
Asher, I heard you're doing well for the USDA.
"Actually, I'm getting married. I'll send you an invitation, so please attend." "You're getting married? Well, congratulations!" I was surprised when I saw the invitation I received. The bride-to-be was the daughter of the CEO of a major corporation. The wedding ceremony was going to be held at a top-ranked high school hotel, and the reception was to be held in a top-class hall that could accommodate 500 people. "Mom, do you think it's okay if I don't attend? I don't like this kind of high-class hotel." "What are you talking about? Your only brother is getting married. You should go and congratulate him."
Yeah, I know. Asher inherited our father's vision, and he is doing a fine job for American agriculture.
The day of the wedding, I switched from my work clothing to a suit that I was not used to wearing, and we headed for the high-class hotel where the ceremony was to be held. In the waiting room, it was just Asher, myself, and my mother. Seeing me tense like a robot, Asher and my mother laughed. "Don't be so nervous, Ethan. You're just going to give your speech in front of 500 guests."
What? 500 people? Are you kidding me?
At that moment, the bride, Aria, and Mason Richardson, her father, came in. Aria was a lovely lady with a neat and clean appearance. Everyone could tell that she grew up in a wealthy family. On the other hand, Mason had a stern face and an imposing physique, like that of a CEO of a large corporation.
"I'm Mason, Aria's father."
"Oh, I am Ethan, Asher's older brother."
"I believe I am overevaluating my daughter, but I couldn't help but praise Aria for choosing Asher, who has a bright future in USDA, as her marriage partner."
"On the contrary, thank you for allowing Asher to marry your daughter. I appreciate it."
"Don't mention it. Our family is thrilled to have a brilliant broker like Asher, a Harvard graduate, into our family."
After all the chit-chats were over, Aria, the daughter, told him, "Dad, we should go back to the waiting room now."
"Oh, I'm sorry. Then see you later."
Mason was about to leave the waiting room, but as if remembering, he turned around and said to me,
"I heard that you are still single. There are young ladies from a good family at today's reception. I can introduce them to you."
"Oh, well, don't worry about it."
"Please don't hesitate. By the way, which college did you attend?"
"I had to support my family, so I didn't go to college."
"This is surprising. What about high school?"
"Actually, I had to drop out of high school to work."
"Excuse me? Did you just say you dropped out of high school?"
At that moment, Mason was startled. His mouth was hanging open as he stared at me. I was frightened by Mason's powerful gaze and said, "I am not well educated. My younger brother Asher studied hard in academics instead. He is now able to work as an official of the USDA, which was my dream. And he is now with a wonderful person like Aria. I am really grateful." Then Mason stuck his index finger on my chest. He was about to say something when Aria called him. He left the room. I had a bad feeling. After the ceremony, the gorgeous reception finally started. The first to give the speech was, of course, the bride's father, Mason. 500 people gathered at the banquet hall. Most of them were Mason's business associates. After the toast, Mason began his speech.
"Asher Brooks. He is a promising worker who is expected to lead the USDA. I want to congratulate my daughter for winning the heart of an incredible man."
The audience burst into applause. Asher and Aria smiled and bowed to the attendees. But Mason's next words froze me in my tracks.
The only mistake I made is that I did not check the educational background of Asher's brother. Asher is an elite graduate of Harvard. However, his elder brother Ethan only graduated from junior high school. It is truly unfortunate to have a relative who graduated only from junior high school in our family.
The 500 people in the hall fell silent, and the air was filled with an eerie atmosphere. Asher and Aria's faces were likewise frozen. Mason continued his speech.
I hope Aria and Asher will leave behind excellent genes. But when I think of Asher's brother who dropped out from high school, I feel a touch of uneasiness. So, I want to make it clear to Ethan, Asher's brother. From now on, I will not allow you to take even a single step into our home.
My heart was about to explode, but it was my turn to give a speech. My legs were shaking so badly that I couldn't walk. At that moment, my younger brother Asher took the microphone. He stood up to greet the audience in my place. My brother did drop out of high school, but it was because her mother was too weak to work, and he had to work instead. I graduated from Harvard and joined the USDA, and I was able to marry Aria, all thanks to my brother. Then, Asher began to speak about something that my mother and I had been keeping secret. My father died in a traffic accident. It was my birthday that day. After finishing work, my father tried to leave early for me, and that's how he got into an accident. But my brother, trying not to hurt me, said that it was his fault. Asher knew that our father had an accident because of his birthday. I listened to Asher's words with a feeling of crushed heart. My brother sacrificed himself to protect me, and now someone is trying to disgrace him because he didn't finish high school. I cannot live with someone like that. The 500 people who filled the hall were stunned. Asher still declared, I have no intention of becoming his son-in-law. Then Aria, the bride, stood next to Asher. She held a microphone in her hand. Today, I married into the Brooks family from the Richardson family. I will break off my relationship with my family, who makes fun of Ethan, the brother of my beloved Asher. I, too, do not want to enter the Richardson family's house ever again. The audience's groans grew even louder, and then the applause rolled in. Mason was flustered.
What are you talking about, Aria? I don't approve of this marriage.
I am fed up with you, Dad. I can't live with someone who judges people based on their education and appearance. I'm too ashamed to live with someone like that.
Aria?
Mason was horrified when his beloved daughter pushed him away, still trying to maintain his dignity as a father. He raised his fist at Aria. At that moment, Asher made a decisive remark. You know what? My brother Ethan is your company's major business partner.
What? What did you just say?
My brother is the CEO of Extra Farm.
Extra Farm? No way, a high school dropout is the CEO?
My mother and I were trying to rebuild David's farm, which had been suffering from bad weather. We did many research. We worked on improving the breed with the help of my mother's ideas. The efforts bore fruit. We succeeded in developing a new variety that was not affected by the weather. The patent rights to this new variety enabled us to make a huge profit. Thanks to this success, I was able to introduce new IT technology to increase agricultural production and bring high-quality nutritious vegetables to the market. For Mason Richardson's printing company, Extra Farm was a large client, packing materials to pack products and stickers for the products. We were ordering the majority of those things through his company. Due to the digitalization of printing, the printing business was going downhill. Extra Farm was the company that saved them. When Mason found out that I was the CEO of Extra Farm, he turned pale and fell to his knees. As if to calm the buzzing audience, Aria announced with a microphone, "Today's reception is over. From now on, Asher and I are going to make a new life together. I would like to ask for your support." Asher and Aria bowed their heads. The audience applauded warmly. After a while, the hall was empty and deserted. Mason Richardson was there, head down. I approached him and said to him, "I have to say, Asher is a lucky man to have married such a wonderful woman like Aria. I thank you for allowing him to marry her."
Ethan. No, I should say Mr. CEO of Extra Farm. I cannot apologize enough for my rudeness. Please forgive me. I'm begging you.
Mason apologized profoundly. I remembered what my mother had said to me when my father died, and I told that to Mason. You never know what will happen any time in your life. Therefore, you should cherish every day of your life. That's what my mother taught me, and I have lived each and every day to this day. It doesn't matter what your academic background is. What is important is how you live your life. Mason remained silent and didn't say anything. Afterward, Mason supposedly received a barrage of criticism from attendees in the reception hall for insulting me because of my academic background. In response, the board of the directors passed an emergency motion, and Mason was removed from his position as CEO. Mason's relatives also scorned him. He got a job at a small printing company. I heard that. He is now covered in ink, working under the guidance of high school dropout workers. Asher and Aria are now happily married. Next year, they will have their first child. Concerning my mother and I, we are working and developing new varieties at Extra Farm. David has also recovered and working hard with the farming. Then, one day, Aria called me. "There is a woman I want to introduce to you. Would you like to meet her?" "No, I'm too busy with work." "Come on now, it's your turn to be happy." At Aria's suggestion, I decided to meet the woman. I waited for her at the restaurant. A woman came at the appointed time. As soon as our eyes met, I was astonished. She was Mila Watson, who had suddenly disappeared when I was in elementary school. She immediately recognized me and smiled. "I didn't think it was you, Ethan."
"I still have the present you gave me."
I took out a pendant from my bag and showed it to her. Mila let out a cry of surprise. I opened the lid of the pendant and showed her a picture of her when she was little. She turned her head down in embarrassment. "You haven't changed at all." "Ethan, you haven't changed a bit either." After that, we went on several dates. We made a promise to get married. I told Asher about it first. "Congratulations, Ethan." "Actually, I've been put in charge of agricultural development at the USDA. I'm going to make our father's dream come true." "I see. I'm going to work on new breed improvements too. I'll make everyone in America and around the world happy." As my mother taught me, don't take tomorrow for granted. We should continue to live with a grin on our faces every day. That's what Miller and I resolved to do.